Hey everybody, hey beautiful souls out there. We are excited. We have a phenomenal show tonight. It's going to be so amazing with our phenomenal guest today. So welcome again to the Breakthrough Lounge, another amazing show, you guys. So I am your host. I am your author, your transformational speaker. I am your life coach. I am your dance minister. I have so many titles, you guys, but I am Lonnie Grant. So you guys, this is like episode 4 now, you guys. Oh my God. So I'm up to episode 4. And today, you guys, I'm ready for this conversation because so many of you guys go through this in marriages where, you know, the blended families and how to break past the stereotype that maybe it's not going to work, you know, and maybe, you know, I don't get along with their children, or I don't date people that got kids, you know, all the stuff that you say, right? And then you find yourself in these situations because you're not in control. We know that God is in control, so he orchestrates everything, whether we like it or not. So you guys, today, my phenomenal guest and my bestie, Miss Lynetta Carson.
Hello.
Owens.
Yes.
You guys, I gotta make sure, gotta add that extra name.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
Yes. So I just want you to tell my audience, like, what do you do? Like, what all that you do under your umbrella before we get into the nitty gritty?
Okay, well, before I do that, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. It is such an honor to be here with you. I am so proud of you. I'm so excited about what you're doing, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yes. So, thank you.
With that being said, so what I do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Tell them what you do.
Okay, guys. So, of course, I am a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist for over 20 years now. I am also an educator, so I educate on natural hair and healthy hair. I also homeschool my 6-year-old. I have a 2-year-old. Then I have a blended family. My husband has 4 children from his previous marriage. So we come together, and right now we have a total of 6. And I'm pregnant, so this is going to make number 7. And I also find time to write children's books. I don't even know how or when.
Oh my goodness.
I
So
do.
this life is just busy, 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 you guys. Busy, busy, busy. But she's successful. There's so many people out there, you guys, that have their hands in the pot everywhere, but they're never mastering anything and they're never being successful at it. And it's hard to find that nowadays. So that's like kudos to you because you're great at all of these things. Like, not perfect,
No,
but great.
Always
you know.
growing.
always growing.
Absolutely, as long as you're alive. Right?
Yes. So can you tell the audience about your hair product? Just tell them how they can reach you.
Oh,
so they'll
sure,
know.
definitely. You can always just go to theblossominglotus.com. You can Google Lynetta Carson Owens or Lynetta the Stylist, and you will be able to find information on booking appointments with me or doing classes or workshops. And if you go to Amazon, you can find my children's books under Lynetta Carson Owens. So
Yes. So you guys, thank you for tuning in, everybody. We love you. I love all my supporters and everybody who just follow me, who's been following me on this journey for years. I'm so excited. I want to give a huge shout out to Vox Wave Radio. Reg, yes, I'm excited. And our awesome engineer, Mr. Ron. He's amazing. He keeps us on point here, so I'm excited. And just a big shout out to my mama bear who put me on to Vox Wave, Miss Debbie herself. So thank you for everybody. So I want to get right into the juice, you guys, because this what you came for. You came for the juice in the Breakthrough Lounge because it's going down.
it's going down.
It's going down. So today's topic, you guys, is about blended families and breaking barriers. So I want to ask you, like, what did you ever even see yourself with a blended family or dating somebody even that have kids?
No. Absolutely not. Like, when you think about it, thinking about from being young, just from all the fantasies and the fairy tales, you imagine that there's this one person for you that you meet from high school or whatever, and you get together and you make your own family. You don't think about, like, what will happen if you decide to go to college first, if you decide to, you know, get into your career first, as I did, because I didn't have my first child till 33. So I spent a lot of time traveling the world, focusing on me. And so then as time goes by, everybody's living their life. People are having babies, people have been married, people have gotten divorced. So when it was actually time for me to think about this whole marriage thing and actually sit down, I thought that I would get with someone who didn't have any kids, you know, or, you know, had one kid. Like, I can do that.
I can do one. I can do one. Yeah, just one.
You know, but it just didn't work that way. If I would have looked at the kids, not saying that it wasn't intimidating to see 4, right? But if I would have just looked at that, I would have missed out on the beautiful parts of the relationship and most important, my own personal growth from the relationship.
Right. That's amazing. Because we come into relationships with our own expectations, right?
Absolutely.
You know, or what we perceive to be as our perfect husband, material, outer, everything. And then some people actually miss out on what God has for them because you already got this wall up to say, no, he has to have this type of car, this type of job. He better not have no kids.
Yes, right. He better not have no kids. He better be making XXX. He better be driving XXX and living here. You know, yes, we have a long, long list, but it's so crazy because I remember one of the things that I asked God is to help me become the best me that I can be.
Yes.
Stretch me, grow me. And like sometimes, like when you ask that,
oh, he stretches you.
You gotta
because
be
that was a
careful.
stretch. You
That
went
was a
from
stretch.
the one baby to now meeting your husband.
Yep.
To now having a family
Yep.
of what, 5?
And then having another one, 6,
6.
and then one more on the way. So that's 7. And you have all these different dynamics. You have, first of all, before you even get to, you have your own mind chatter. Right? About what you're doing to yourself. Is this right? Is this going to be fair? Is it going to be equal or even? You know what I mean? Then you have the mind chatter. Then you have the chatter from those people who love you because they don't want to see you get hurt. They don't want to see you get used. So they're worried about you as an individual. Like, oh my God, are you crazy?
You going to date somebody that got that many kids? Y'all know the story.
Yeah.
Aunts
What's
and
wrong with your self-esteem? You know?
Yeah.
Or I'd rather be single the rest of my life than to, deal with somebody who has kids, And it wasn't like the kids were like by a lot of different women. Not saying that it still can't work, but it's one woman,
person,
and it's from a marriage, you
right?
know? And sometimes things don't go the way intended. So that, and then also I have my daughter who I had before I got married with someone else. So I have to consider her,
right?
I have to consider her father,
right?
I have to consider the dynamic between her and my husband, the dynamic between my husband and her father, right?
Yeah.
The dynamic between, it's a whole lot of relationships going on.
It is. It's a lot to consider, and I think people don't always have these conversations because we just go off of, well, I love them, right? Mm-hmm. We're getting married. I don't care what nobody say, but we don't always include, always do the thought process and say, well, okay, my daughter, dad is still in her life, right?
Absolutely, yep.
What is that going to look? Their moms is still in their life.
Right, and people have different ideas and different ways of raising children. And so when you have this pot and you're mixing everything together and all these spoons are in the pot, and you can't take none of the spoons out because every spoon got a place in the pot. But if everybody's not stirring the same way, and it's not always like that, everybody doesn't have the same ideas.
Yeah.
I know, in the beginning, I'm such a happy-go-lucky person. You know that.
Yes.
I can be so gullible.
Yes.
I see rainbows everywhere.
Everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. I love a village. Yes, I'm nation building. Yes.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing.
That's
I'm
what you're doing.
Building, right? And you think, oh, I love kids. I'm going to get along with everybody. But you don't know what the child has already been through.
Yeah.
You don't know what their parents say. So it's almost like you have to come in and offer them unconditional love no matter what.
Yeah. Because they don't know you.
Because they don't know you.
And
right?
and for kids, so many of them come, they come in the world, especially if their parents was married.
Yeah.
You already got that in your head, this it. Mom and dad. You don't ever think that they're going to break up and you're like, well, who is her?
And who told her to come here? Because now she's really messing up the possibility of my parents getting back together.
Yeah.
So I really don't like you. Right? And so not even thinking about all the different emotions that they would have, the changes that they would go through, just thinking everything was going to be so wonderful. That's not the case,
No.
Because everybody has to grow and everybody has to get to know each other. And I think one of the best things that I learned how to do, everybody's raised differently. The chores at this house may not be the chores at that house. What you're responsible for over here, you may not have to do over there.
Right.
So to just get to a place to where every day you can press the reset button and say, I am an example in their life. And they may not see it right now. It may take 20, 30 years before they're even grateful for me, right? But I know what I should do, right?
Right.
And then there are some times, too, where that's also a part of the stretching.
Yeah.
Because, in your mind, you may want to do X, Y, Z, say X, Y, Z.
And you can't,
and you know?
Because these are children. Yeah, they're children. And they have feelings. They don't know who you are. You get some kids that's like, well, you're not my mother. Don't tell me this and don't. What you mean wash dishes? I ain't never had to wash a dish.
Right. You know, and I think for me, some things like that are kind of hard coming from like a military background with my mom, who just, you know, because I said so.
Yes.
You know, so finding that middle ground and learning how to hit the reset button every day, I feel like that was a big part of it. And there's a lot of time I think I would look at my husband and be like, you need to do this, you need to do that. You go down there, you tell them to wash these dishes, and you do this and that.
Right.
And really, that's not necessarily the relationship they had before or the way that things were. So it takes time for them to get there. And then also, at the same time, I'm making him a villain in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Not intentionally.
Right.
Right, but because I want him to go down there and carry out my mission the way that I want things to be.
And so many people do that.
Right.
Where you're walking on eggshells and you're like, I want to say something, but I don't know how. Then you put the other person, like you said, the villain.
Right.
Because they get tired at some point. They're like, no.
Right.
You need to start cultivating that relationship so you can now say something, but you can't keep running to me.
Right. And
trying to get me to check them.
Like, and then I realized, okay, this is about my relationship with them and what I expect of them. Maybe not even his expectations, but these are my expectations of them. So then it's like, how do I do this in love and kindness? Right? I want to get my point across, but it needs to be in love and kindness. And they need to know it's not because I just want you to come around here and do all the work, but because one day you're going to be on your own.
Yeah.
And it's going to be important that you know how to take care of yourself and that you do these things, that these are life skills.
Right.
It's not me, being mean or anything like that. So I had to
your approach was different, though.
Change my approach.
It's the approach. You guys, a lot of times, you guys that's in blended families and you're meeting people that have kids, we go in it with our own understanding of everything.
Absolutely.
And it's like, no, how about if I tried it a different way? Not to say your way is wrong of way you were raised. This is a different person that been raised by somebody else.
Yes.
And now you got to say, God, help me to be able to connect with this person beyond just, I want them to wash the dishes.
Right.
Maybe let me take them on a walk. Let me take them to the movies so I can get to know who they are as a child.
Right. Let me see how they operate. And then also a lot of times I think at some point you think that they already know how to do things, and that's not true. Maybe they need to really be shown. Maybe you need to do it with them. And that's really what it came down to. And sometimes you do have to watch over them while they're doing it. And I will say these changes do not happen immediately. It just does not work that way.
No.
Like it really took like 2 years for the change, for it to be kind of to click and become some type of a routine for them.
So it's a process.
Yes.
And you got to be patient with the process, like anything. And I think most probably blended merges also don't work because people are not patient. They're like, I'm out.
Right.
I'm out.
Okay.
I can't take this.
And that you're making me now think about a book that I ended up reading, Gary Zukav, The Seat of the Soul. And one of the things that he said in there that really stuck with me was that you need to always know what your intentions are, your unconscious and your conscious, because my conscious intention says, I want to be a good mother to all these children. I want my marriage to work. My unconscious intention was like, listen, I can do something else. I don't have to deal with all this. Let me go and just worry about me. Let me do this. It's so much easier to just focus on myself and focus on the ones that I gave birth to, make my life so much simpler. So really it came down to what was stronger in my intention, my conscious intention or my unconscious intention, and then to stop the mind chatter on those unconscious intentions, because they're working, it's my own energy working against me, and I'm putting that into the universe as well. So I really had to get to a point where I could check my own thoughts and my own feelings, even if it was just a daydream about me sitting on a beach somewhere with just my little two or whatever. Hey, no, that's not what it is. This is what you decided to do. This is where you are, and look at how much you're growing. Look at how much you've learned about yourself. It's hard, yes, absolutely, but you have become such a better person. And
I think a lot of people don't see the bigger picture because, again, being selfish. because they want results right quick. You know, my husband, if he don't make this change, or if my wife don't get her kids together, I'm out of here. I don't have to take this. You don't have to take it, but you also have to realize that this was a relationship that they already had. Because you have a lot of kids, you'll have a lot of people that have grown kids, right? That still may live with them. And it's about codependency, trying to come in, and you like, well, your son can't stay here.
Right.
You know, then people, like,
So
you
then
can't
you're
tell
breaking-
mine. Yeah, you breaking the...
You're breaking up their bond. That's something that they have to do themselves. And that's another thing, like learning how to stay in your lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is hard sometimes. Sometimes it's really just none of my business, you know. If their
you
mom
guys-
decides to do something or she does things a certain way, that's none of my business. And it's not for me to question. It's not for me to shame them. It's not for me to try and correct her or belittle her in front of them. None of that. It's just none of my business. My business is what happens when you are with me, when
That's
you
it.
are here, and that's it.
Did
You
y'all
know?
catch that? Mind your business.
Mind your business, stay in
That's
your lane.
it. And again, knowing your role, you know, and I think a lot of people, when they get into the blended families, that's one of the things that I see a negative that people do is whatever the other parent is over in their house is doing, people in their feelings have a,
absolutely.
you know, and what she say when she was over there, and
Absolutely.
and it's like, why did you put that kid in that?
Why put the kid in it? And not to mention, stress kills. Okay.
Yes.
So really, what you're doing is by harboring all that negative energy and being mad at something that you can't control, you're making yourself sick.
That's
you're messing
it.
up your marriage. You're messing up your relationship with the children. So it's just like, at the end of the day, the person that's hurting the most is you.
That's it.
Right? From harboring this energy and taking it out on others. So in order to, once again, it just comes back to you.
Yeah.
Right? It comes back to you being in control of your mind, your thoughts, and your actions. And then whatever you set the tone, you set the frequency in the house. Because whatever you send out, right,
that's
going to affect everybody. If you're sending out the nasty vibes, you don't even have to say nothing.
Oh, yeah, they can
you
feel
look
that energy.
You know,
that energy.
The air can be thick.
And children know that you got that.
They do.
They're just like us. They have the same emotion. So when people say, well, you know, he didn't catch that. He's 6. He caught it.
Yeah.
The energy caught it. That's why it's so, you know, easy for a child to go back to the mother and say, or go back to the dad and say, I don't like to be over there. Or I heard her talk about you. It's easy. And people are like, well, I was in the other room. They heard you.
Right.
They heard you. It's a lie.
And it's interesting because, you know, I for my husband and my daughter's father, they see each other often. They are able to know, you know, to talk, and we can all be in the same place and things like that. With the children's mother, we can also all be in the same place. We can all go out to eat together. But when it comes to us having a dialogue about the kids, that's where the line is drawn. You understand?
Yeah.
Because it's such a sensitive topic or a sensitive issue. So some of those lines, you know, you just don't cross. It's not even worth it.
Yeah.
And you have to think at the end of the day, what can be gained if you tell them X, Y, or Z, or how you don't like X, Y, and Z? How's it really going to help?
And that's
how's
true.
It really going to affect the
it's
children?
just like picking your battles.
Yeah, picking your battles, and that's
pick your battles. Don't, you know.
Not one to just let it go.
Just
let it go.
Just let it all the way go. And that's good. Have you ever had a conversation with the ex-wife before? Like, have you ever sat down and just got to feel like?
I wanted to, but she's not in a place for that at this time.
Right. And that's not to say it won't
and that's
ever
not to
happen.
say it won't ever happen. And that's not to say that we don't get along and we can't have, you know, candid conversation. But I think that for her, that feels
Maybe
like I'm overstepping my bounds.
Right.
You know? And so I could be nasty and try to force it and do all that, but why?
But why? Yeah.
Right?
Because it's, you know.
Because she's not going to receive it. It's really not going to work. So I'm not going to force it. When it's time, naturally, it's going to happen. If it needs to happen. Right?
Yes. And that's true, you know, not forcing relationships, because I think so many times you hear people say, well, I reached out and she ain't want to answer my phone call, or, you know, she barely speak to me, right? And it's like, put yourself in that person's shoes, right?
Yep.
Like, put it back on you where you knew how to, you know, just to see the person you was with.
Absolutely.
Now with somebody
come
new.
on now, can you imagine? Hold up, let's just stop right here.
Yes.
Can you imagine that you were married and got a divorce and this man has 4 kids? You'd be thinking, ain't no crazy heifer gonna pick this thing up. Well, who is gonna touch it, right?
Right.
And then lo and behold, you haven't necessarily moved on or gotten married, but this thing over here then got married and acting like a spring chicken, having more kids. Like, you know, the mind chatter is real.
Yeah, it's real.
So you don't know how someone else has interpreted, how it has affected them. So it takes time for everybody.
It does. And people don't know all the time how is it going to affect them until they see it.
Until it actually happens. So you're like, I don't care.
Yeah, everybody don't care, right?
Right?
Oh, I didn't moved on.
Yes.
I didn't remarried, all of that because the other person don't have anybody.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, they have somebody, and now the little emotions started going.
Right.
And then you
may
start.
not even really want them back.
And you sizing the other person up like, child, she ain't got no edges.
Right.
Child,
dumb stuff.
She bigger than me.
Yes.
Just stuff, and you like, isn't she another sister?
Right.
Like, don't I still supposed to embrace her? Because I am her.
Absolutely, I am.
I am her.
Yep. Yeah, we are still connected, you know what I mean? They're still, and even more so now, you know, with the kids and everything else, we're still connected. And these things, I think, are all a part of it. What I think also is very interesting is when you think about, oh my goodness, looking at social media, looking at how people always put out like their best, you know what I mean? Like, you don't see the behind the scenes of the true everyday life. And looking at that can mess you up. You know, because you're looking at the fantasy, the fairy tale, or all the ups. And we know that anything that is alive, it has ups and downs. You know what I mean? There's no steady up and there's no steady down, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be some type of a flow. But we can get caught up in that, and then you're thinking, oh, let me go, I'm gonna get somebody else, I'm gonna do this, I could do better, or I could do bad all by myself, whichever way you want to look at it. But then what about the growth that you were supposed to have? Forget even the other person, right?
Yeah.
The personal growth that you're supposed to have from the relationship, the things that you learn about yourself. Like, there's so many things that I didn't even know.
Relationships grow you up.
And they grow you up. And really, like, I just realized that I might be a little bit selfish. And I never thought that, because I'm a butterfly.
Really? She's just a little bit sad selfish.
Yeah.
Right?
So you learn things about yourself.
Yeah.
And now seeing that reflection, I can do something about that, and I can grow even more. And then also, what are you going to do? You leave one person, you get with another person. Everybody got a little bit of crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to have to work something out either way, because we're all human.
Yep.
And we
different.
are dealing with different personalities. And it's so, another interesting thing from the Gary Zukav is the difference between the personality and the spirit, right? So you have all these different things. You may have a spiritual connection with this person. That's why you're able to be together. That's why you're drawn to them. But then and you're probably going to do something great together, or you do great things together, but you have different parts of your personality that may clash, or just some growing and learning to do, right? So again, if you're there for a reason, God obviously allowed you to get there, to place you there.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
So,
oh my goodness, this has been extremely so good, you guys. Again, tonight's topic is about blended families and breaking the barriers. And we just wanted to get to the nitty-gritty of the dynamics of blended families. So, you guys, we're going to go straight to a commercial break. We will be back. Do not leave. Bye-bye. All right, welcome back to the Breakthrough Lounge. Again, I am your host, your transformational speaker, your author, and your life coach, Lonnie Grant. Tonight's topic is blended families and breaking the barriers. So tonight, I have my beautiful guest here, also my BFF, Lynetta, Carson, Owens. So tonight, you guys, it is like we didn't got into the juice. We didn't really got into
Absolutely.
the juice. And one of the questions that I have for you is, as a blended family, have you guys, when it comes to therapy, has any of that surfaced in your relationship with maybe you and your husband or you and your children, because it was such a,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So we definitely do therapy together.
Okay.
And we do it separate also. And with the same therapist, right? And then for the kids, some of them have, therapists when they need it, right?
Okay.
So, and I think as a people, that's one thing that's really hard for us, is the whole idea of therapy and needing therapy. Like, to convince a man
Yeah.
to go to therapy, or that it might be good if a child has therapy.
Yeah.
Right? It can become almost offensive. Like, what you mean? Are you trying to say that I haven't done a good job parenting? Why would my child need therapy? Or what do you mean? There's nothing wrong with me in this relationship. If something's wrong, it's you. So you go see a therapist. And guess what? In the beginning, that's how it was, because in the beginning, he did not go with me. So for a while, I went by myself just to show that I was willing, that I acknowledge what you're saying, that maybe it is something within me. So let me go and work on me. And then when you're ready, you join me.
Yep.
Right? And so that's what happened. And I feel like that it's helpful and that we need it, because we are not just working against our own differences and personalities. We're working against societal norms, right?
Yeah.
Of the way that the family should be, of the role that the woman should have, of the role that the man, should play. So all these different things. And then even as a people, like we always talk about, being conscious, being awoke, and growing and doing all these things. But when it comes down to it, like, this is a part of the hard work to break generational curses. This is a part of the hard work to shift the mindset and to give the children something else to see and to look at. Like, we can give the lip service all day long.
But it's
we can
in
go
the
to
actions.
church on Sundays and still be ready to get a divorce, still come out of there, angry. But it's in the actions. If we're really going to do something, if we're really going to make it better for the next generation, and we're really going to grow, these are like the growing pains.
It is. And it's hard, you guys. It's not easy at all. Even just therapy for yourself. You know, so many people don't want to go, and I'm like, how you going? You got to do the work.
You do.
And some people go to therapy also. What I've realized, you go, but you don't do the work. I've heard people, you know, say, "Oh, I go to therapy every Tuesday. I go at 2." Oh, or it becomes just something to say.
Do, like you say you did. You working on it.
You put it in your schedule, but you're not really doing the work.
Absolutely.
Because the work happens outside of the therapy.
It does.
With the homework assignments.
It does.
The repeat affirmations. The repeat when you get triggered. Because even in blended, you know, families, right?
Yeah.
You're getting triggered. Maybe that one time that child looked at you looking crazy, and you like,
not me.
Let me not take this braid
not
out.
Today, right?
Yeah. So you gotta
absolutely.
learn when those things come up that, you know what, that, you know, that devil, you can't.
And then the breaking of the rules too. Like I feel like in therapy, there's a lot of things we set boundaries, right, about how we would do things. And then I recall one time when I just, you know, being the woman that I am, and like, I need to get this done. I'm not waiting on nobody. I'm going to do it. So here I am making plans, changing schedules, doing things with the kids, and I haven't told him a word because I didn't wait and put my cape on, you know, got into my little superwoman status and just started doing things. And here I am breaking one of the ground rules that he gave us. Communication.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So it's about keeping those rules and building on those rules. And another one was, you know, learning how to fight fair, right? Fair fighting. And not being slick and talking out the side of your neck, because we all know how to say something.
Yeah, the sarcasm.
When you love someone, you know what it takes to punch them in their gut.
That's it. What they always say, don't hit below the belt. Because some people know how to do that. And your spouse can be a trigger, especially for a lot of us who kind of grew up with the childhood traumas and stuff like that. When people, we call it attack. They attacked us. And then you start hitting below the belt, calling them out their names, doing all this stuff. And it's like, who you attacking?
You're really not going to hurt them, right?
Are you attacking them, or you attacking the person that's showing up that you ain't dealt with in your past?
In your past, right? And that's absolutely true. From different relationships, like, oh, this is familiar. You're reminding me of such and such. Well, he's still not such and such.
Right.
You know what I mean? He didn't do that.
He didn't do that.
So you need to, you know, work on how to address it. And then once again, there we go again. We're back to what? Dealing with ourselves. Right? Healing ourselves. It's so funny. The more I realize that making it work is about me. It's about my mindset. It's about my happiness. Because one thing, too, in the beginning, I had to remind myself it's not his responsibility to make me happy. Yeah. It's not his responsibility to see that I fulfill my little goals and my personal wishes, right? So because we're two separate people, we still have our separate lives and our separate goals, and we're responsible for our own happiness.
Yeah.
And then if we take care of that when we come together, then we both have something to offer. But if I'm like, you're not doing this, or I expect this from you, then it's not going to work.
It's not. And even just hearing you saying about the separate goals, because I'll hear people in relationship, they'll come to the table with, oh, I want to have this business idea, and I want this. And then you'll get the chatter from other people like, they not helping you, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But that's not his goal.
It wasn't, again, and a lot of times we force other people, our goals onto our spouses, and then we get mad, and that breaks up a lot of homes.
I've done that. I will say that's probably one of our most recent things. I am such a go-getter. I just love to set goals for myself, and I can get outrageous.
Yeah.
And I will go for it.
She's
right?
my bestie for a reason. We don't
go
play.
for it. And I will set my goals here, and then I'm looking at him like, well, what you doing? But he's content where he is. He doesn't have the same goals that I want. If I'm like, oh, yes, I want X, Y, Z. I done set this financial goal for me, this savings goal for me. I want to travel here, do that. He's so mellow and happy with himself where he is. It's easy for me to be like, oh, what's wrong with you? You lazy? oh, what's wrong with you? You don't have no
and then we start tearing down them, and you forget about that's their personality.
That's who
Some
is.
people just want to, and I've seen this in relationship where people are just saying, I just want to be by your side.
Right.
I just
accept that.
That's it. And just like, I don't want to run around like you. I don't want to do all of this. I will support you. So when you need to vent or things come up, I can be by your side to be able to hear you. If you have a show or something, I can pick up some bags. I can do whatever, but I don't
He'll
want.
watch the kids.
That's
Where
it.
you think the kids at right now, right?
You're watching the kids.
We're watching the kids.
So we got, and that's true.
And
so
that's
we
his
got
way
to
of showing the
appreciate
love.
what they do, and not listen to what you said earlier with the chatter, and start, feeding yourself, because then we go back to social media where you start looking at other people's relationships where they help.
Look at them.
Look at her husband, or look at his wife. His wife do this for the business, and it just you got to do what works for your family,
right? And
at
allow
that
them
time.
to still be themselves.
That's
right?
it.
It's like I can't make him into my vision of a man with all these little pieces that I put together, and he can't make me into the woman that he put all these little pieces together. He is who he is, and I am who I am. And I realized that I had to look and see, oh wow, he is supporting you. Maybe not in the way that you wanted him to, or that you thought he should, but look at all the sacrifices he's making. Now, when you be planning stuff, you don't even ask, because you already know. But again, that's not good communication. That's not good communication.
Yeah.
But I say that because I know that he's that reliable, that he's going to be there for me, and he's going to help me in that way. So the whole idea, like, people will look at me and be like, well, what is he doing? He is doing his part. He is, because again, even our own expectations of what society has told us what your significant other, a man's supposed to do, and what it looks like, again, his support looks different. Absolutely.
Everybody's support looks different.
I'm going to tell you one thing that I know, just being a hairstylist and seeing so many wonderful, successful women. I have, doctors, lawyers, marketers, all types of women that come to me. And a lot of them in this day and age, being black women, they make more than their husbands do, right? So that's another thing that can change the dynamic, or start a whole nother mind chatter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's another thing when I think about us being able to overcome the barriers that we have as a people, right?
Yeah.
We all know it's harder for, black men out here right now than it is for black women.
Black women,
lot of ways. I'm not saying
because black women are, everybody,
we're
business
leading in
we're leading.
College graduation, we're leading in entrepreneurship. So right now things are a little bit smoother for us. But that doesn't mean that we should beat our men up for where they are.
And it's like helping them. Nobody's saying babysit anybody, right? Nobody is saying that. But if you chose to be with that person and it's just little things that need fixing, or just, admire them. Same way we want to hear we're beautiful and all of these things. Don't take it like, oh, they're man, that they ain't gonna want to hear that. They do.
They do. And you're making me think about when we were first dating, and my husband asked, well, if I was a bus driver, if I was with you, could I continue to be a bus driver, or would you want me to be something else? Not that he's a bus driver,
right.
He's a
teacher. He's an educator.
He's an educator, but he said that to see if I could accept him for who he is and where he is, right? Or if I was going to try and force change upon him. And at that time, I told him, I don't know. And then after we got married, that I don't know turned into a no. But then after I started working on myself, then it turned into a yes. Yes, I can accept you for whatever it is that you want to do. Because I started meddling in his career, like, well, then you need to do this, and you should go over here and do this. You need to talk to so-and-so and do this. But that's not what he wants.
No.
That's not where he's at right now, because his thing is being able to have a schedule that allows him to be there for the kids more. After school activities, weekend activities, And what he does allows that. So that's his ultimate sacrifice.
And see how oh my goodness, it just hit, because again, where you're trying to push him to do something else, almost to be running around, right?
Running around. And then who gonna be there with the kids?
Right. So it helps, because now you get to kind of be
both doing what we're supposed to be doing, even though a lot of people would say something like something's going on with the roles are reversed, or it should be the other way. And again, that's mind chatter or listening to other people,
or what society said.
Or what society said.
And who's society.
You know, and I think another thing that I'm reminded of that Lisa Nichols says is that what other people think of you is none of your business.
It's none of your business.
Right? So they may look and say, that seems backwards, or, you know, what's up with that? But that's the way it is, and it works. And I think we're coming to that day and age where you can't, that old model is just not working anymore. That's just not the way it is.
You got to create your own model. And is no template, is no, you know, curriculum. It's just not. Do they have curriculums and relationships experts and all of this stuff? Yes, they do.
Right.
But it may not be right for you, and
right.
everybody
it's not my situation.
Is not. And I think people just got to communicate more to figure out, okay,
and stop comparing.
Yeah, just don't tell me what Susie did. Don't tell me what Anna did. Let's talk about what we need to talk about right now.
Right.
I had a problem with this, and that's another thing with the communication.
Yeah.
When that feeling comes up, just being transparent to be able to say, you know what, that, you know, I feel this way, you made me feel like that. So many of us, we harbor the feeling and never even tell the spouse that we had something going on.
And I had to stop doing that.
Yes, it's like, and it goes back to who?
Back to me. Hello, once again, look who it's about, right? All this you're looking for on the outside as if it's supposed to be about someone else, but at the end of the day, it comes back to me and my personal growth and my mindset and where I am. Because what I realized that I did sometimes is I would, like, nope, I'm not going to say nothing. Nope, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to say nothing. Then guess what? Here it is. Welling up. Guess what I'm about to do? I'm about to throw up on you. I'm going to let it all out.
Yeah. And when it comes out,
where did that come from?
Yeah.
know?
And when it comes out, you go back to start thinking about other stuff and start, and you did. And remember when the trash went out? And then when I asked you to go to the grocery store, I told you a green pepper. You going to bring me back a red pepper. It just be, it be so crazy. And it's like, what if I just had a conversation to say, even if it's not, I always think of this 24-hour, 48-hour rule, because it gives people enough time to kind of like not coming like they're lying, be able to kind of go through your thoughts and it's like, okay, what role did I play in this before I go and try to make it about the person, but don't let it go past 48 hours.
Oh, absolutely. And I think another thing is, one of the things our therapist says is you have to focus on one issue at a time. Like if you want to talk about the trash not being taken out, let's talk about the trash. But don't talk about the trash and the groceries and the kids and the clothes, you know what I mean? Because
it's too much.
What are you going to accomplish? It's not going to happen.
And some things, it's just not worth a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes, you know, we will want him to take the trash out. Of course, you hear other men like, oh, I would have done that. Yes, you would have. But guess what? That ain't you. So,
and guess what? He probably at home. He probably ain't doing it either. Okay?
Doing it either.
He's saying that to you.
But
go talk to his wife.
Okay, he ain't doing it. So you take certain stuff, because I know a lot of women always get on their spouses about leaving the toilet seat. You know,
absolutely.
And they're like, well, why don't you put it down? We already know. It's not rocket science. It's like, hey, that's what men typically do. So do I fight? Just like when we leave, hair all in the sink, brushes, skull. We got our own stuff too that they don't particularly like. They'll be like, did you have to leave the shoes right here?
Right. Did you need to put the makeup on the whole bathroom counter?
Just all of it. And then some of them don't say nothing either. They're like, you know what? I understand that that's who she is. Do I keep picking fights?
Right.
About
and in the
that?
grand scheme of things, how important is it really? Like, that's what I have to ask myself. Like, sometimes I feel so silly about fussing over little things like, wow, we're both healthy. All the kids are good.
Good. We ate today.
Okay, the power is on. Okay. We actually got a vacation planned.
That's it.
Why am I tripping over these little things? Why, in the grand scheme of things, how important is it? And it's really not. It's really not. And I don't even know, and that's another thing with letting mind chatter and other people and social media and everything come in to try and dictate to you how your life should be and what it should look like. Right?
Yeah.
Imagine if we didn't have that influence constantly, right? How much easier it would be. So you definitely got to learn how to separate, right? And how to have a true sense of reality and, you know, and know what's real and what's not.
Yeah, because even that social media thing, you have some couples that act a fool just because, oh, you on social media, or you have, you know, spouses where they're not on social media.
Right.
And then people will make them feel like, why you ain't get it yet? And
Right.
it's like,
and
that I don't need
like
it.
that.
They're like, I don't want
like
it.
that.
And you may need it. I don't want to
Yes.
be on it. I don't want to be affiliated.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, the extra distractions that can come in and just cause.
Absolutely. And I think you just have to have some bounds with it. I know one day I was at home and I was supposed to be doing laundry. And next thing I know, I didn't even get a load in. I'm still sitting here looking at this computer. Right? You can get so distracted and get off of your own task, you know. So again, who am I looking at again? I'm looking at me.
Everything goes back, like you said, everything goes back to you.
I'm looking at
because
me.
Now, again, instead of fighting about every little thing, especially when it comes to, you know, his kids that he brung into the merge, it's like, okay, how can I be a better person to be able to go to these kids in love? If I was snappy at first, if I had an attitude at first, that didn't work. So by me working on me, it changes everything so that I can have love, more love, and say, you know what, instead of yelling at her about the dishes, remember that's not her norm. So, hey, come on, let's do these dishes together.
Do it together.
But
Let's
so
get
many
out
of
the
us
way.
are like, I ain't doing all that. You know,
Right.
you let that.
But and then too, you got to remember, like, it takes repetition.
Yes.
It takes repetition.
Just like school. Nobody goes to school and you just automatically learn your 1, 2, 3s.
Absolutely.
You got to keep doing it. So if it's worth it, you guys, you're gonna have to do the work. It's just.
And the person that's going to grow the most is you.
That's it.
You're going to learn the most about yourself. You're going to become stronger as a person, right? You're going to realize things about you, good and bad, that you never even knew. You know what I mean? And then not only that, but the benefit of being able to connect with another human being, and not just for the good times, right? Because it's easy to stay when it's good, but for the good and the bad. And now I know that when I see couples that have been married for like 50 years, oh my gosh, I just want to fall on the ground and be like,
yes.
What is it? Like,
and you think about it, you guys, some people think it's magic. You know, we hear all these stories that people who have been married for years, and we're like, well, give me your sauce, and but you don't know the process. You don't even know half of the things that went on where they had to make some sacrifices, and you had to say, okay, I can't be Petty Betty today.
No.
It's the picking and choosing, and that's the thing I really feel like it's hard for so many people, because so many people put it in their mind like, I don't want to feel weak.
Right.
So
and
it's not even about
weakness. It's really about a humbleness.
That's
you know what I mean? It's about faith and believing that you can make it. And I remember one of the best pieces of advice I got was from, you know, like an older church mother. She was like, baby, you get married so you can learn how to pray better.
That's
now,
it.
Let me tell you something.
Yes. That's the best advice.
Okay, you do learn how to pray better. You do get a stronger connection with God, because God knows all, God sees all. And if you're in this
and He loves marriages.
Right, He loves marriage. And if you're here, you can make it. especially with his strength, you know what I mean, and his guidance, if we adhere to it, right?
Yeah, if we adhere to it.
All of that.
And you got to do it, and don't expect, because sometimes in relationship, even with prayer, we get frustrated when our significant other may not pray as much as we do, or you feel like they're slacking. It's like, okay, so that's why it's 2.
Right. And now here you go judging.
There
you know what I mean?
Now you start now you just be the lead. You show, so that way your significant other, that's what happens. It's like kids. You know, you consistently keep telling them something and they not getting it, and then next thing you know, you start walking or you start doing something. Next thing you know, they trying to climb on stuff to walk because they're being shown. Right. So sometimes you guys, it's not about keep saying stuff, and I even had to learn this as well, just as a person, like, you can't keep just beating people over the head with words. You just got to be the lead. Pray.
And sometimes silence, right?
Yeah.
Which is a hard thing sometimes, but silence and action.
Yep, in action.
Just doing it.
So you really got to put that prayer life in, you know, for your significant other, because they dealing with stuff that they don't even tell you.
Absolutely, and I think men are good at that.
Period, men are so great at just, and you talking about especially a male that's coming with a family, and that's not typical, right? So even talking about that to close out this the show is, you don't really find a lot of males who have custody of their children.
Right. Yep,
you may see where you meet somebody and they say, yeah, I got a son, I got a daughter, but they stay with their mom. I get them on the weekends.
Right.
Isn't that
them
the
over
norm?
The summer.
Yeah. Oh, I get them over the summer. So ladies, you say, oh, I'm off the hook.
Right.
Like, I ain't got to deal with him. I ain't got to deal with Ray Ray too much. Or little Nika, I ain't got to deal with them. But what happens if you find a husband who has custody of their children and they're full time?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, and it can work, right? It just it depends on how much you're willing to put into it, and really how much you're willing to focus on yourself. How much you are willing to grow as an individual. Everybody's growing, of course, but how much are you willing to grow and to focus on the good? Focus on the good. And I love what Michelle Obama said. I don't know if you guys saw the interview she did with Oprah, but she said, if you are married 50 years and 30 of those years are good, you had a good marriage. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, what's that mean? That means if most of the time is good, the more good times and bad times, then it's good. Just like anything, in friendships, there's good times and bad times.
Yeah.
Even with your own kids that you gave birth to, there's good times and bad times, because they can get on your nerves too, right? It's a part of life.
And it's seasons too, because just like our kids, you know, when they're younger and then they get to middle school, you're like, hold on, this is not the same person.
Right.
Then they change again, because we're changing every day.
Absolutely. So
even
as a couple, I'm growing, he's growing. We have to check in to make sure that we're not growing apart.
Yeah.
To make sure that we understand
because we'll
the
always grow, like somebody always
in.
grow higher than the next person, but you don't want this. You want this.
You have your spurts at different times. You're different people. You know what I mean? And then you can communicate and learn each other again, right? Or grow with each other or see what the changes are, or run away. And if you run away, what are you going to run to, right? You're going to run to something else and you're going to have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Right? If you run away and you go to another relationship, then you have to be ready.
You can't run
to do it all over again.
You can't. Yeah. And that's why I think most of us, even in business, you know, sometimes we'll keep running a rat race.
Absolutely.
And God is like, no. Just sit still, go through this, because now you might end up, you know, never know. Y'all may end up being a testimonial to somebody else that has a blended family. Absolutely. And you never know. He might say, you know what, I know you into children's books. What about if we did a children's book and show blended families?
Absolutely.
It's like you never know how it turns out,
right.
where you may end up getting them on board with something. But I just tell people consistently, just pray for your spouse. Even when times get hard and they out there, it's like, okay, keep praying. Go to that
And nothing
word.
like having is easy all
It's
the time.
easy. It's just
Yep.
not. And that's what I want people to really go to is stop running and tell everybody. And the
Right.
word is right there.
Absolutely.
Your
Right.
word has everything in it when it comes to relationship.
Yeah.
So you guys, I'm just excited that you guys tuned in with us tonight. This was an awesome topic. We can go on and on.
Absolutely.
But it was amazing. So I hope you guys got something out of this and be able to take some nuggets away where you'll start to reflect on your relationship if you're in a blended family. And you'll be able to take some nuggets to say, you know what, it's about working on me too.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes we can take us out of the equation. So thank you again. I'll see you next week right here at the Breakthrough Lounge with your author, transformational speaker, and life coach, Lonnie Grant. I love you guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
This